Hey guys, I wanted to make a quick video about mouse over casting and click casting to a lesser extent, and how you don't need macros or everything. It's all built into the game now at a basic level, and maybe you can get rid of some add-ons or whatever. But before we get into that, let's look at what problem it's trying to solve. So the problem is, say I've got a Holy Paladin, and they have this ability called Holy Shock that does damages to enemies, or it does healing to friendlies, right? And additionally, I'm always supposed to be attacking some target or whatever. I'm in melee range, and I need to be able to heal. And in order for me able to, like Holy Shock or Eternal Flame or anything like that, I need to click, cast, and then swap back, and then click, cast, and then swap back. If I wanted to uh, if I wanted to judge this target over here, I have to target and then come back. And it's obviously that's pretty darn clunky, right? Well, there's a long time been a solution to this called mouse over macros. You can have ability macros set up so that whenever you're mousing over a target, that becomes the target of the spell. And let's look at an example of one of those spells here. I have an example, you know, example. And there's a whole lot of extra stuff going on here, the harm and no dead and everything, but the important part is the mouse over. This is the thing that sets this spell, this cast, to be at whatever you're hovering over, whatever unit you're hovering over. Um, and for every spell that you want it to be able to do this for, you had to have a macro for this. So back in the day, I had dozens of these for every class. It was, you copy and paste, change out the name of the spell. It's just redundant. Well, now you don't even need to do that. For basic functionality, you just go here to options, search for mouse over, and you see here mouse over class. Just enable this. There's an additional setting if you want to have the mouse overcast only work when you're control alt or shift or some for some ungodly reason. Um, that's an option. I don't know why you would do that, but it's a thing that you can do. But now this solves the problem for us. I don't have any macros or anything, but now I can Holy Prison this target, and I never change targets. I can cast a heal on this target. Let's judge this other target over here. Well, if I was actually hitting it, I can shock that target over there. Um, I could click my raid frames. There was any, like if I had raid frames or any other unit frames, I would just be able to hover over the unit frames. Nameplates, same deal. You could do all of that just hovering over things, and obviously much easier, right? So you don't need macros for all of this. Macros, I see tips all the time of people to use mouse over macros. Yes, but you don't need the macros. You can just use mouse over casting. Additionally, people use healing add-ons and grid add-ons that let you like left click on unit frames or right click, and then it casts your spell, and you can use middle mouse click, and then that's your big healing spell or something. You don't actually need that anymore. There's a thing called click casting, so you can just search for click, and you can do click casting, and it opens your spell book and have this click casting binding. And say if I wanted to bind Holy Shock to left click, save that. Now, whenever I'm over a target unit frame, I left click. Normally this is target. Normally when you left click with mouse, it targets. Now my left click doesn't target anything. It just tries to cast Holy Shock, which is obviously super annoying. So we're going to remove that. Back to default. And we can get rid of that, and I don't need that, and save, and we're done. And now everything's back to normal. But you could set up click casting with regular old unit frames. You don't need an add-on or anything like that. You could use it with the default raid frames. And by the way, the default raid frames show everything that you need to know as a healer. They show if something needs to be dispelled. If something needs to be dispelled and you can dispel it, you will see it on your raid frame. If there's like a taunt swap, debuff or whatever that's important, it shows up on the raid frame. Is some important encounter debuff that's on that you need to be able to know about 9 times out of 10, I say 99 times out of 100, it's going to be on the raid frame. There's pretty much never a need to use unless you have very particular taste about what you want to see on unit frames. You can just get by without any. You don't need click or voodoo or hillbot or anything like that. You can just get along with regular old unit frames. Anyway, hopefully you guys found this helpful, and I will see you guys next time.